What is 60 or so percent?
It's a show by Machine Age Productions where we create games with help from the audience. We're only giving 60 or so percent because game design is our passion. Also, it's a NoFX reference.
We don't create a full game. We lay the bare bones of it, like the core mechanic, character creation, and world building. And we design the cover for the game.
Each show, we make at least one game, and so far, we have made a ton of them.
We love to feature guests because game design is more fun with friends.
So how does it work, Liv?
Well, we choose a piece of media as the starting point, add a genre or a setting twist, and a random game mechanic. Combine those together and we have our foundation. Then, over an hour, we develop these ideas while also working on an incredible visual presentation.
Sounds fun! Tune in Wednesdays at 6 p.m. PST at twitch.tv/MachineAgeProductions.
Oh, if you're interested in being a guest, contact us at olivia@ihunt.fun.
Okay, so in hour two, we tend to we make a game. Yeah, we make a game inspired by something that is probably not a game.
Generally, it's inspired by me trolling through the Twitter feed of the guest and looking for something that they like.
Yes.
Not to make fun of it, but just to give them something to laugh about. And I think, Jeff, tell me if I'm wrong on this, I nailed this one.
You did. You messaged me this, and so there were a lot of layers to the level to which you nailed this. Obviously, I love the music of Bruce Springsteen. I was raised in South Jersey and live in Philadelphia now, so like it is music that has been around me my entire life.
Yeah.
I also openly have a crush on Bruce Springsteen.
Right.
And also, I wrote a Bruce Springsteen game a few years ago, which I sent to you when you sent me the suggestion, and I was like, yes, this is relevant to my design focus as a designer.
and let me just say, you can find that on itch. It is a damn fine game. You should take a look at it. It is worth your time. It's a lot of fun.
Yes. Okay. So
what are we doing with that? So our theme for this game is going to be Bruce Springsteen, which is a little weird. He's not technically an IP, but we're going to be creative together. We're going to come up with something amazing.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
So the trick is that what we usually do is we take a thing, and then we mix it with like a genre or like sort of a sort of field of game or thematics or whatever.
Another setting. Yeah.
Like it could be a lot of things. Like we could do, the Addams Family meets Mexican telenovelas.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That would be almost too easy, though.
It would be too easy. It was just the first thing that came to mind because I spent all day reading about Charles Addams.
As one does.
Because one of the Kinks in the 1950s I Hunt book is named after him.
Oh, that's right.
And so that was fresh on my mind, and telenovelas because they're always on my mind. But that was just a random choice. So we have to take Bruce Springsteen and we have to mix Bruce Springsteen as a concept with something else.
Different genre.
Yeah, with a genre.
And often we take that from the chat. So if you're in the chat, please tell us. Our game should be one part Bruce Springsteen and one part what else?
Yeah, do we want to do Splatterpunk Bruce Springsteen?
I don't think that we can. I really do not think.
I was thinking about this specifically as you were explaining it. I was thinking about it, and the first thing that jumped into my head was monster horror, and then I went, wait, Bruce Springsteen and monster horror is just I Hunt. Like, that's just I Hunt as a concept. I was like, there's not even any creation that needs to be done there.
Yeah.
It's working class blues plus monsters. That's a game that's already out there.
Well, let me tell you, Jeff, there will inevitably be an East Coast answer to San Gennaro. There's half a novel already in the works that's just Philly, New York, kind of Baltimore as one fake city in the East Coast with that strong East Coast vibe, and what it's like to be a hunter in a group of struggling hunters unions, basically.
I'm all about it. About it.
Yeah.
That'll happen someday.
It's going to be good.
Let me finish this book and then I'll do the other book. But okay, so monster horror, we can still work with that. Somebody says MMO. Pro wrestling and or
Dating
heist
sim.
film. Sorry, Francina?
Dating sim.
Dating
It's a
sim?
dating sim.
Oh, you date all the members of the,
The E Street Band?
yeah.
Including, what's his name from The Sopranos?
I'm sorry, starting with what's his name from The Sopranos.
Steve Van Zandt, I think his name.
I love me a good sax player.
Max Weinberg of Conan O'Brien fame.
Yeah.
Okay, let's...
Oh wait, I forgot. Can I tell you my dad's Bruce Springsteen story?
Please.
This is
Oh,
such
yeah.
Please.
it's such a non-starter, but so my father is a professional musician amongst other things, and he was a gigging musician through most of my early childhood. And so he's a bass player, guitar player. He plays whatever you need him to. He's that kind of, real pro, real studio musician. Just shows up and does the job. And he was playing with a band, who knows, somewhere in the Jersey area. And he was sitting at the bar, and Bruce Springsteen just sits down next to him, tells him like, "Hey, you sounded great, nice job," and he buys my dad a drink. Bruce Springsteen was just hanging out at whatever bar it was that my dad was playing at, and it's not so much that like that's a really interesting story. It's not. It's a nice moment, but it's not really an interesting story. It's that my dad will use this to start any conversation he can get away with.
Regardless of the context.
Like he will, if you are, God forbid, with him at a Hooters, he
Uh-huh.
will tell the waitress the story about the time that he met Bruce Springsteen, while her eyes glaze over because she doesn't know who Bruce Springsteen is.
I literally was at a Hooters with your father. He took me out to the Hooters, and he told the server his Bruce Springsteen story, and she said to me, "I don't know who that is." She was very young. Oh.
Anyway, it was a real cute story that he just,
That's great. I love that. I adore it. That makes me very happy.
So anyway, Bruce Springsteen, definitely a mensch, definitely a nice guy.
Yeah.
By all personal accounts that I heard from. So.
Yeah, I've not heard a bad story about the man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What's the genre? We haven't decided yet. Jen, do you have one?
Yeah, we got to mix Bruce Springsteen with something.
With something.
We've got pro wrestling, heist, Vanilla Ice.
What? No, that wasn't a suggestion for the thing.
MMO.
Jeff, what would be the thing that you'd love to see Bruce Springsteen mixed in with? I know you said
I
monsters.
gotta think about this.
Yeah.
You know what? Like, I'm gravitating a lot towards heist film from the chat.
Okay.
And there's two reasons for that. One is because it's next to pro wrestling, and pro wrestling Bruce Springsteen is just the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and that's already a person that exists. And two, a heist film. Like, a thing about Springsteen that I like is that his band is like 12 to 20 people.
Yes.
And like that's a good heist dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Ocean's East Street band, right?
Yeah.
Because like there's the times where the E Street Band is also the Max Weinberg 7, and that's 7 more people, and then it's suddenly like it's an entire orchestra, and like it's great. It's a delight.
He made sure a lot of people were getting paid.
He did, and it's all the better for him for that, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we can go heist. I think that's cool. Especially because Dancing in the Dark sounds like a heist film.
It does.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, let's roll with that.
Okay, so
I'm gonna.
And the other thing that I like about it is like Springsteen all of Springsteen's music is so blue collar that like it feels like a heist in the vein of Springsteen would be very satisfying.
Yeah.
Right? Like it feels like it would be very blue collar people getting one over on the rich bastard that has made our lives a living hell.
Yeah,
and I think
absolutely.
that's an energy that I'm after.
Yeah, I think that's good. And I think you still have to be an active band.
Yeah, for sure.
So maybe Bruce is. I feel like we've done this before. I feel like Bruce.
We have.
A little bit, but
Yeah.
a different Bruce.
Well, no. We did the touring band one.
Okay.
That was inspired by the Misfits of all things.
Yes, it was. But hear me out on that. And the Jersey Devil.
The Jersey Devil. That's right. Yeah.
This is getting weird. Anyway, I want to say that like Bruce is a character. He's a standing character, but he's like maybe the director's character, or he's passed around or whatever.
Sure.
And you are playing the various musicians who are a part of this giant shifting band.
Okay.
So, like, some of it is just kind of like justifying your character's involvement with this group because, maybe you're not actually a musician, but they need you to open the vault in the back of the bar / bank or whatever.
Sure.
That's just something out there.
Okay, so other direction. So that's like a very direct, very literalist approach.
Sure.
We could also do it that it's like more inspired by the sort of the thematic feel.
Okay.
And so it's more of a very, very blue collar leverage.
Yeah.
Like instead of, master thief and hacker, and like,
Hitter.
badass hitter who, goes to Iran and beats up the Shah or whatever, I don't know. It would be like the welder,
Yeah.
the driver,
The thug.
the thug,
Yeah.
like the union guy, the pipe fitter.
The pipe fitter, that's right.
Because then
Hey, we operate on an ulterior motive. Ulterior? What is it?
alternative revenue stream.
Alternative revenue stream.
That's right.
Yeah.
Um,
I'd get there. Sorry.
I don't know. We could go the literal route where you're a band and it's literally Bruce Springsteen, or we could go thematic, where it is like the sort of the motifs from his music.
I think the motifs is the way to go. I think the conceptual is the way to go. I do think the system has to have something to do with literal lyrics, though.
Okay.
So, I have a world detail that I want to throw out, like purely a lore detail that tickles me greatly.
Yeah.
What if it's a little bit of both of these options, where it's you are a bunch of blue collar people who are enacting a heist, but the sort of world conceit is that like Bruce Springsteen has like a global network that he just kind of gathers blue collar people with like a particular, and going into the idea that you're tied to like a particular skill set.
Yeah.
It's like one day you just find like a copy of Born to Run on your doorstep, and you're like, I've been summoned. I have to go to work now. So then you also get that element of like mistrust among the various people because they've kind of been like, brought together and they don't quite know each other and have to learn to mesh as a team.
Yeah, because they trust Bruce's opinion.
Yeah.
But they don't necessarily trust each other yet.
Everybody likes Bruce. I don't know if I can work with y'all, but like I know if Bruce is asking me to rob this bank, I gotta rob this bank.
Yeah, I like that, and I like maybe the idea that the heist is the set dressing for the game, and it's kind of a foregone conclusion that it's going to work out, and the blue collar workers are going to win.
Okay.
But the real trick is Bruce selects you guys because you have something that each other needs. And there's some like character growth that happens between you and the other characters that Bruce knew was going to happen all along.
Yeah. Okay, so growth. That's because growth is an important part. Like I feel like that is a thing. The character development is a big thing in his music.
Yeah.
Because like, yeah.
Because they're narratives a lot of times.
What if the game was like a very simple system for it, like a very pared down like Blades in the Dark type thing, but instead of the standard model where like you sort of come up with a story, you improvise through it or whatever, it's done more like fiasco play sets.
Yeah.
And each one is a thematic pull, like with a team that's generated for the story.
Yeah.
Where each of the characters has a point of growth.
Yeah.
And basically, like, it's sort of custom tailored to the group, and it's more that if you're playing multiple sessions, you're playing an anthology.
Oh yeah.
And as opposed to a series. And each one of these sort of play sets would be themed after one of the songs.
Okay.
So you've got like an I'm on Fire, you've got a Born in the USA, Glory Days.
You got a Jungle Land.
Yeah. Like Spirit in the Night. There's a lot of really, really good ones. The Ghost of Tom Joad. Like you could take all of these amazing songs and you could turn each one of them into a plot.
Yeah.
And yeah. And I think that like maybe the book comes with like 3.
Right.
And then you just get the others, which are going to be like 20-page pamphlets.
Right.
The idea would be that there's more Bruce Springsteen songs than any realistic publisher should be able to make adventures for.
Which is brilliant.
But it's an easy adventure model, so people are encouraged to do their own, the same way that they would do fiasco playsets.
Right. You want to write your favorite Bruce Springsteen song into your playset because you have the one that you love the most, so that's the one you're going to write.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because everybody has a favorite Bruce Springsteen song, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, I think mine's Glory Days.
All right. If you don't actually.
I'm a Born to Run guy.
Yeah.
I'm Born to Run to Rosalita. Those are the two. I go back and forth between the two.
If anyone tells you that their favorite is The Rising, then you can walk out.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not a bad song, but if it's their favorite, that's like you got a person with a problem.
It's like Lolita is my favorite novel.
Yeah, like it's okay to like Lolita, but if it's your favorite, maybe let's keep you away from schools and places of any sort of public attention. Yeah. So that's my sort of stance. I think that it should be a playset game.
Okay.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because I also love that it gives you a very strong, like that anthology presence. It gives you a very strong like hook. Because the thing I like about the sort of premise that we've set up is it's very we're up and we're going, and I think playsets make that even faster, right? Like
I agree.
It's very like, here's the pitch, like we're ready to do the thing that we need to do. There's not a lot of, I think that like, and I think this should be a game where we're not worried about, and I say this with nothing but love for the games in question, the Shadowrun or the Sprawl like cycle of play, so to speak.
Oh no.
It's like getting the job, doing the job, like negotiating the job after. Like I think it's literally like this is a game about like doing the thing and breaking into a place, negotiating terms and stuff is assumed within the playset, right? Like
yeah,
we're pretty much we're opening outside of a shady warehouse in Paterson, New Jersey, and like what happened, and like the game is pretty much just that.
Yeah.
I definitely think that like I sort of have this like I'm having difficulty putting it into words, but like conceptually when I think about like Bruce Springsteen from a musical standpoint, I think that like his biggest strength is that he's very good with taking very quickly establishing an atmosphere, and then very quickly after that he sort of he narrows the spotlight down on a very specific sort of like flash points, and so like he sets the stage and then he focuses on the principal players, and it's very quick and you very quickly click with these characters.
100%.
And I think that that's important for this style of play where you're basically being handed a cast and you're told within the first 10 minutes we should already know the characters and either love them or feel for them.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
And I feel like this is, when we talked a little bit about play testing, we talked about like kind of knowing where your game is meant to be played.
Yeah.
This is a BarCon game.
Yeah.
This is a convention game for designers and their friends, and like this is definitely what you break out when the beer is already flowing and people are like, so tell me about Delaware, because I don't know shit about Delaware. Hi, I've got just a game for you.
Yeah, and the heist should take between an hour and 2.
Yeah.
It's a very quick game
Yeah.
that you should be able to play while a little drunk.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
If drinking is what you do, and if drinking is what you do, you can still make it fun.
The possibility is there.
Yeah.
It should not be very complex. It should be... Oh, I'm sorry. It should be a small series of sort of character bits.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know, a little bit of a fiasco, a little bit of a hurdle, and then like the sort of the persevering and overcoming.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be a big win. This isn't like competence porn, but this is, in a way, it's like survivor porn.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, like, you're like rooting for these people, and they do pull through.
Yeah.
It's not glamorous, it's not glitzy, but like, you definitely applaud whenever the game is over.
It feels good.
Yeah.
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 I love it.
I do too. I actually, like, I know I say this all the time, but I really want to write this. Like, I have some ideas for it that I would really like to put on paper. So, yeah.
I have 2 ideas I want to throw out. One is an actual genuine thought on a mechanical type thing that I think would be valuable to include, and the other is purely a verbal shitpost joke tied to an offhand reference that I made earlier.
Go, of course.
The first one is, like, to your point about, like, in the first 10 minutes we should, like, know the characters, right? And I think there's probably a mechanic that you could implement where it's like, you know, this is your character's, like, I hate to call it shtick, but, like, this is, like, a notable thing that your character does. The first time you do it, you get, like, an immediate reward. Like, you get an extra dice to roll in, like, the shit has gone sideways part of the game. And it's like, it gives you that idea, or like here's your character's conflict, here's your character's thing that they're dealing with. If you introduce that quickly, you know, as soon as you introduce that, you get the reward, so you're kind of mechanically incentivized to say as soon as possible, like, oh, I've got a bunch of bills, like I've got this problem, or I'm gonna grow in this way and I'm gonna introduce it here, to really push that feeling of like, okay, cool, we know what your character is, now we're going to see how all these pieces come together.
Yes. Okay, so here's my mechanical pitch. Like, I've got a little system in mind. So it's 6-sided dice, and everyone starts with 2 of them. You use them for actions, and your goal, your agenda is to get doubles. If you get doubles, then you win. Like, you achieve the action that you're going to do, and the number on the doubles that you get determines the efficacy of it, like the level of success that you do.
Right.
So a double 2 isn't as good as a double 6.
Right, of course.
With 2 dice, doubles are only going to happen 1 out of every 6 times. But you're going to have, on your character sheet, you're going to have 3 bubbles, basically. One of them is like a character showcase. One of them is going to be a character growth point. And one of them is going to be like an achievement point, like a thing that you want to do. Like, I'm going to break down a wall because my dude has a sledgehammer, right? And so those 3 things are things that you want to try to hit early on and get done. And those are going to be points that we're going to want to cheer for, and that we're going to, every one of those bubbles that's filled in increases your dice by 1. So if you have all of them, you're now rolling 5 dice for everything.
Right, okay.
And the thing I love about this is, I get the feeling that they don't go away, because I think that would make it, so you want to hit those beats quickly to get to your full 5 dice, and you want to get them as quick as possible.
Yep.
And then you've introduced and fleshed out your character as much as you can, and then you've got the full scope of your sort of personality.
Yes, absolutely. We know who Larry is. After those 3 points, that's it. Because realistically, if you have like 4 players, that's going to be 12 things that you need to do.
Yeah.
Those have to happen in the first 20 minutes, basically.
Yeah.
And you can do that, like just rapid fire. You know, this is how I'm going to introduce.
Montage-y, right?
Yeah, it's like a little montage. The opening, really, the first 20 minutes of this game, you're going to probably have 1, 2, or maybe even 3 of these bubbles filled.
Yeah.
And the way that it should look is the very stylish credit scene at the beginning of a heist movie. This is where, like, we're seeing the characters introduced. We know who's going to, in a movie, you're going to know who's going to portray them. And basically, like, by the time that's over, we're ready to roll. Like, there's no questions anymore. Like, we're invested, we're good, we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
And so characters really in this situation should probably be like an index card. They should be like a name, a couple of like descriptive points, and maybe like a paragraph of flavor text background that you can anchor to if you're that kind of player. And then you've got those 3 bullet points, those 3 bubbles to fill in.
Yeah. And I would say it's strongly encouraged in the book that you want to when you're making the because you're making the playset, you're making the characters, right?
Well, I mean, when you're making the playset, you make the characters with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe you should be using lyrics from the song if possible.
If possible, yeah.
To anchor in the character, but only if possible. Like it's
yeah.
fine.
Because the song's 3, 4, or 5 minutes at most.
Right.
And there's not going to be that many words, and you got to come up with 4 people and maybe some antagonists and stuff.
Yeah.
So you play it little loose, but I think that drawing some inspiration from there is it's going to be a point in your favor as a designer. So yeah, these characters would be basically index cards, or in the case of like a 6x9 book, they would be 2 of them on a page.
Yeah.
Maybe like a profile piece of, like a bust or something that you can see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think that my shitpost thing is that every playset should be set in a town in the tri-state area of New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and New York.
Yep.
Because if we're making a Springsteen thing, like your thing has to be set somewhere in New Jersey. It's just an unspoken rule of the design contract that if you're looking for the name of a city, it's Jersey City. It's Newark. This is set in somewhere in Newark.
It's definitely in Newark.
Unless your playset is Streets of Philadelphia.
Sure.
Then it's set in Philadelphia.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot.
And if you are going to stream it for a charity thing, because that's a thing that happens, it's got to be a charity that specifically supports something important in the tri-state area.
Yeah. Like Habitat for Humanity, Philly, or whatever. Yeah. Food Not Bombs, Newark.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. Gosh. So that's a mechanic. Like I'm gonna write that down too. Go ahead.
So I have another mechanic in mind, unless somebody else wants to throw something out.
No, you're the guest, please.
So I'm thinking about the point about like this is a bar con game, and I think there's absolutely a I know I had said like the game isn't necessarily interested in the like the whole loop, but I do think there should be a phase of play that is not the consequences and the planning of the action. Like this is very much like a self-contained story.
Oh yeah.
But I think there should be a mechanic there should be like a phase of play that is to capture the most Springsteenian vibe of sitting around a bar afterwards talking about the thing that we all pulled off. Like
oh yeah.
That kind of celebratory bar vibe, like as a postscript to the game, I feel like can be baked into it because there is nothing more Bruce Springsteen than sitting around a bar. It is quite literally glory days, right? I think glory days to an extent is in every playset because it is a part of the core game of like afterwards we're gonna sit around a bar talking about what we did.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I feel like if you play in a bar and there's live musicians, you are obliged to buy the bassist a drink.
I'm in my notes here. I'm referring to this as blue collar debriefing.
I love it. It's very good.
Yeah. Okay. No, I think that's great. I think that's really cool. Yeah. And I think yeah, no, that's really good.
What's the name?
Dancing in the Dark.
Okay.
Yeah. Dancing in the Dark is a good name for what we're talking about.
We would.
It is a very crimey name.
Yeah, right. It's got that whole thing. Like, yeah, I love it. Um,
I had an ex who was obsessed with the idea that the song was about masturbation.
oh, no.
Okay, so I'm like, well, even if you want to do like the most strict reading, he's talking to someone.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
literally,
there's two people.
and he's like, no, he's like talking to himself. I'm like, I don't think that that's the case. My friend.
Yeah, and like he's like a grown ass man. Like when I was a teenager, I would like talk to Tia Carrere, but like,
Singing to posters.
yeah. But Bruce Springsteen definitely did not do that. Oh God. So yeah, no, that's a weird take. That's a really weird take.
I have a weird history with Bruce Springsteen. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay, no, that's fine. So what does everyone in the chat think so far about Dancing in the Dark? I think this is a game. Like,
Yeah, I think it's a game.
This feels like a game.
like I don't know that it needs a lot more structure other than like the play kits, like the play sets and
Yeah.
the fiasco terminology. The play sets would probably just be a series of scenes
Yeah.
that get you to the point.
Yeah.
And each one would have like a couple of things that would come up as challenges, but since the mechanics are so simple, they wouldn't need much detail.
Yeah.
And since they're predicated on like, I think this is a game where a lot of the challenges are going to kind of emerge in play because of I think sort of the trick of writing it would be that a lot of the challenges will be emergent by the cues that you're doing to get dice. Like, if your cue is I want to knock down a wall, well then I don't necessarily need to write that one of the things is that like an alarm has gone off because a wall has been knocked down, because I know that a character is going to knock down a wall.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Right. And in fact, I would probably with each one of the play sets, I would have a note page that the GM is expected to like print out and put in front of them that's going to have the points of growth and the points of achievement for each character. That way, like, your goal as a GM is to put them into positions where they can do that.
Yeah.
And like, if they don't get that that's what's going on, you kind of shake them a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got something I'm thinking about, and I think this is partially just so I can tell a quick story about a thing I love about Bruce Springsteen.
Do it.
I think tying into something we talked about earlier, and also tying into a tiny anecdote that someone told me about Bruce Springsteen that stuck in my head. I think there should be a mechanic. I think that the playbooks themselves should include more characters than will be present at the table. So like it should be like, you know, you include like 8 characters and pick 4 of them.
Oh sure.
And
okay.
I think there should probably be like a mechanic that is like, you decide this, but I feel like it would be very good if there was like a death mechanic, but like the mechanic is like the player doing it has to choose to be like, I'm going to die and get something in return for it.
Oh
Because
sure.
There's a very Bruce Springsteen. A, Bruce Springsteen talks a lot about death in his music, and B, I was talking about Bruce Springsteen with someone on Discord, and they mentioned a moment from Springsteen on Broadway where Bruce Springsteen is talking about the loss of Clarence Clemons and goes quiet for a moment and says, losing Clarence Clemons was like losing the rain. And I remember this person's comment very specifically being like, Bruce Springsteen is the only human being that can say that and have it sound like a thing a person says.
Right.
Yeah. No, I love that. So, okay, so my sort of my pitch there, and I noted it here, is that like, so you have your bubbles, and you also have a star, and the star you only fill in is if you are replacing your previous character. Like if this is a new character you're picking up to replace the one that died, then basically you get to carry forth that valor.
Mm.
And that's an additional die that you get to set on, that you get to use in your dice going forward.
I do like games that when they present the chance that characters will die, because not all games need to do that.
Yeah.
But I like a game that like does that and then rewards the player on some level for being brave enough to be the player that it happens to.
Yeah.
I think that's great. Sorry, Jeff.
Sorry.
No,
Yeah.
Francine, go ahead.
If you had to add a tagline to this game, what would it be?
Um,
I mean, is it like a blue collar heist? Or is it like something for the boss? Because that's what they called him.
um,
Heist for the boss.
yeah.
Guns for hire?
Guns for hire.
Um, hmm. So, I don't know. I think a blue collar heist party game.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, a blue collar heist party game.
Do you want to take it a step further and call it a bar game?
I think that would turn off some players
Sure.
who might really benefit from it.
Yeah.
Or casual game. Casual RPG. Casual RPG, yeah.
God, imagine if we just started like using that as an inverse thing, where we just started calling some games casual.
A blue collar heist casual RPG. Yeah.
Sure.
I love it. I love it a lot.
Do you need me to type that for you somewhere, Francina?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because
I'll put it in. I'll put it in the comments.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll put it in
Now-
the Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what if, thinking about this death mechanic,
Yeah.
what if we take it a step further and we say that, like, rather than it being something that, because I almost want to, what if it's something that, like, the group has to agree upon, and in exchange, everyone gets a reward? Like, so that's, rather than it being, like, everybody kind of jumping up and down at the possibility to kill their character, it's like, we all have to agree that your character is going to die here. And if we all come to that agreement, like if we all feel like that's the moment where that happens, everybody fills in that star and everybody gets to carry on that valor because we all carry on the memory of that character that died.
Oh, I like that a lot because then it discourages the group from like all dying.
Right.
Exactly. That's kind of what I was thinking. Is like if it's everybody gets that option, everybody is going to throw themselves in a meat grinder. But
I think so.
if it's you have to create a moment that is so like your death has to be so earned that everyone kind of goes, yeah, that's it, your character's out, and in exchange, like we all get a reward for like agreeing to build that moment.
Okay, let me build on that a little bit if you don't mind. So,
Go for it.
Bruce is supposed, Bruce may have said, losing him was like losing the ring. So, whatever the thing is, it's a little bit more powerful. But you do have to sacrifice one of your bubble things. Do you know what I mean? Like
No.
a part of your character is now not as accessible and not, rewarded, I guess. Because I know that you're checking off these bubbles to like get them done or whatever.
Yeah.
But maybe they're also kind of, they're also instructive. If your character is supposed to knock down a wall, you know that your character should be knocking down walls, even after you've hit that bubble.
Yeah.
But now that one of the characters has died, it's replaced with this slightly, this stronger character growth moment. But now you don't knock down walls anymore because you've lost something when that character was gone.
So, what if it is, like a fourth bubble is available for everyone that is left blank, and you have everyone still has to agree on it, right? Like you have to communally come to the decision that a character dies, but when that happens, they have a drive on their sheet that then applies to that everyone else can go get that bubble, earn that for themselves.
Okay.
So it's like if your thing is knocked down, if you're playing the sledgehammer and it's like my thing is I knock down walls, and I agree to sacrifice my character. I have a drive on mine that says knock something down, or like knock something down that deserves it.
Oh, sure,
So everybody
sure.
gets that fourth bubble, and everybody gets the fourth bubble that is knock something down that deserves it. So we all take on that element of like, this is the character that's going to die. We all have to take on. So everybody starts knocking stuff down to take on that feeling of like, we are all carrying on that sort of
Yeah.
I
that sort of
love
memory
that.
of that character.
You're carrying their fire forward.
Yeah, I love that a
Yeah.
lot.
That's very cool. I'm into that idea.
And
Yeah.
you can, and what you can do with that too, like if you're the style of player that goes for it, because it's an hour-long game session. Everybody takes a break, grabs some pizza, buys a drink for the biggest player at the bar, and then you come back and you play the same scenario, but you make sure it's a different character who dies, so you have a different second act inspirational point.
Yeah.
Same scenario, everybody shifts characters over one, and now you're trying to kill somebody else's character for that end point.
I also love that it encourages you to play to die, but like it also gives the group a level of control that you're not throwing yourself in the meat grinder, but it still encourages you to like play like your character's gonna die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that it could also be conceptual, like it can be like you're taken out. It might be that like, you know, you break a hip or something. Like it could be any number of things.
Or you're the one who gets arrested.
Or you get arrested, yeah.
Or you sell out the group, or like something like that. Like it is you have lost, like you are lost. You are lost to the cause.
Yeah. I love it.
That's very sweet. Or not, depending on it, I
Yeah.
guess.
No, but I think that's great. Yeah, this is solid.
This is real solid. I want this.
A game that happened.
I would say that for the progression of things, so the scenes would be sort of in a sort of a loose act structure. You would sort of have your sort of like montage, your intro montage at the beginning, and then you would have like the bulk of the heist, and then you would have the culmination of the heist. And that would be like the sort of 3 stages of play. And for each stage of play, the GM is going to have their own little dice pool that will go up by 1 each time.
Yeah.
And then basically they're rolling the same thing that you are. They're rolling to get doubles. And ideally, if you both get doubles, then you know you're gonna get better than them by getting a better double.
Right.
But the players would have more opportunity because here in this model we really have 5 potential bubbles. So you have the 5 potential bubbles that you're gonna do. So you could theoretically have up to 7 dice, whereas the GM is really gonna have up to 4 dice. And that's going to give you a very rapid sense of progression.
I don't know if it would take too much of a left-handed, like if you'd have to kind of restart from the ground up on that, but I feel like you could simulate these numbers pretty easily with like a stripped down deck of cards.
Yeah, you could.
That only had, from ace to 6 or whatever. And the only reason I suggest it is because it might be interesting to see. Basically, the gameplay would look like a weird hand of poker to anybody walking by your group.
Yeah, I could see that. I actually thought about cards for a moment when I was trying to come up with a mechanic.
Yeah.
But I was just having a little bit of trouble coming up with something that was that simple.
Yeah, that's fair. That's valid.
Like, deconstructing a deck is a little hard.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of just looking for doubles.
Yeah.
And also, it feels like at its most basic level, like if you're rolling 2 dice, it has the aesthetic of rolling dice, which is also has a very bar energy.
Yeah, especially if you're only using d6s. If you start breaking out the weird stuff.
You absolutely can only use d6s in a game like this. Yes. Like I think it would be weird.
D6s because you're rolling bones. You're at the bar rolling bones.
That's
That
right.
is.
I think a cover is incoming, so I think we should all brace ourselves because,
I'm so excited.
Oh, something's happening. Oh shit. Liv.
I'm coming.
That's very good.
I love it.
Oh my gosh, that's very good.
Tina is
That's
silently clapping her
amazing.
hands.
Oh my god.
I love it.
I guess we have to make this game a lot, huh?
Yeah, we'll make this one if you guys want.
Yeah, I think we have to make this game.
Okay.
And I think, yeah, we'll have to set it up so that other people will, like, maybe at release or whatever, we get everybody, like, different people to do their own playbooks.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Ooh,
Yeah.
that's fun.
Okay. I'll do this. I'll definitely. I'm in.
Shut up.
Okay, or I can shut up. That's okay too.
No, my phone. My
Likely
phone.
story.
Google is trying to. I don't know.
Oh, okay. No, this is really cool. I really like this one a lot.
This is totally unrelated to anything, but Francita, yesterday I think it was, Liv texted me and I had one of my earbuds in, and Siri was kind enough to read the text to me, which was very kind of her. But apparently she doesn't like parse LOL as a word, as she does with most other abbreviations, and she literally said LOL, and it was just the funniest computer thing ever. It was like if grandma had done that for you, you know?
Oh my god.
No.
Like, somebody teach her how to say that, please.
Yeah, absolutely,
She
absolutely.
has no friends.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, so instead of doing a third, I've got a little bit of a headache.
Okay.
So I was thinking instead of doing a third, maybe we could talk just a little bit more about this one.
Yeah.
So we can actually flesh it out.
Yeah.
And make it something that we can work with.
So you want to throw together an outline, maybe?
Yeah, let's do that. Do y'all want to do throw together an outline?
We can look at the second stage
Yeah, that
of
sounds
this
great.
kind of development.
Yeah, this will be a little bit further than we usually take these things, but it'd be a fun experiment. Okay, let me steal the Miro board here, pull it over here. Such a cool fucking thing. I love that cover, Francita. Okay, let's see.
Just make sure you don't let out any company secrets when you're sharing your Google stuff.
Yeah, I'll get right on that. Okay, let's see. Bruce Springsteen game. And let's do a Google Doc. All right, and we're going to call this Dancing in the Dark Outline. Yay, okay.
I have 7 different songs stuck in my head right now.
Yeah, right?
It's very complicated.
It's got that way about it. Okay, so outlining. This is a weird discipline. Basically, what we want to do as designers when we're outlining is we want to lay out what we need to do to make this a project.
Right.
Sure.
Okay. What I'm going to do first is I'm actually going to take the stuff that we've got here. What the fuck? Why is my fucking screenshotty thing not working?
To make life complicated for you.
Just a second.
Oh, well, you're busy. I guess we could talk about the stock market.
Ah. I actually did want to bring up one fucking thing that's really irritating me about that.
Oh, Jesus.
You brought it upon yourself.
I kind of did not.
Yeah, you did. First off, though, I'm going to get this stuff and I'm going to paste it into the outline. No, no, it's not like terribly a thing. It's just the administration's press secretary was asked about the stock thing,
Yeah.
and the Reddit and the GameStop stocks and everything.
Yeah.
And when she was asked about it, she said, "First off, I want to remind you that this is the first female Treasury Secretary."
Okay.
That's where we're going with this. Yeah. So That's the point to pay attention to, I guess. Okay, so let's see. Dancing in the Dark. We've got these notes here, and I'm going to sort of transcribe them into a better form. First off, though, I guess intro, where we introduce concepts. I think that this is a game that we can probably do an intro that's like 2 pages and have a pretty good description of what the project is. Like, it's pretty easy. Like, I don't think...
You can't bog people down in a game that has to be done in an hour or two. Like, that would be...
Yeah. And I think that from a presentation standpoint, this is a very much a 6x9 black and white book.
Okay. So we're looking at 500 words a page, give or take?
Yeah, about 500 words a page.
I want to see, like, conceptually, I want to see if we could make that intro 2 pages look like the liner notes of a record or a tape.
Oh, sure,
absolutely.
That's probably what I would hand our graphic designer.
Yeah.
What?
Can I make a request?
Yeah.
Of course.
So, can you tell me what the actual header for a section would be?
A header for a section? Yes, absolutely. Let's do play sets.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be a header. Playbooks would be in the loosest sense of the word. And so I think that the intro would be just a couple pages where we just lay out what the game is. If you've read those 2 pages, you should have a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
And then, so we're going to do play sets, playbooks, and play. The play would be the basic dice mechanics. I don't perceive that as being more than 4 pages.
Yeah.
Because what we would have here, and I'm going to break this down here, what we have is 2 dice to start, 3 bubbles, character, growth, achievement, 1 star, fill when someone is lost to the cause, and then 1, what would we call that? A trump. Fill with lost character thematic points. Doubles equals, I'm on a Japanese keyboard, it's very weird. Doubles equals success. Higher doubles equals greater success. 3 acts, GM gets 2, 3, and 4 dice respectively. Players fill bubbles when hitting the points on the bubbles in the story. Okay, playbooks. What do we need in playbooks? Paragraph, background, description, name, maybe imagery, 3 bubbles. Okay, play sets. Play sets would need characters, twice what you need. Or actually, yeah, about 8. So about 8. I would even say 6 would be fine.
I feel like 8, you're going to get 2 on a page for 4 pages, or
yeah, 2 spreads. Yeah,
2 spreads, and I think so. 8's a good number to aim for, just because you'll get that nice even.
Yeah. The only
Even
counterpoint
around
to that would be that you could, if you did 6, then you would have 1 page to describe them.
Okay. Yep. I think that makes a ton of sense.
Actually, okay, yeah. 6. And in the case of the play set, then you're going to have like this is the relationship, like this is the team. You would have a breakdown, like explaining, oh, this is the A team. They're a elite force of. I have no idea why I jumped to the A team there. Plus description of team and relationships / background together. This is something that basically the GM should be able to be like, okay, y'all are the A team.
Yeah.
And then explains what that means. Okay, so the characters, and then we've got the premise. And so this is going to be, okay, so 2, 4, 6, that's going to be 4 pages for characters. The premise should really be 2 pages, one of which is an art page, or the cover. And then scenes. What were we saying, about 2 hours?
Yeah, I think that's what we're aiming for.
Okay. So 2 hours, let's say every scene is expected to be about 15 minutes. So that would be, what, 8 scenes?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So let's say 8 scenes, about 8. Expecting 15 minutes play, half page each. And that would be a very loose half page.
Mm-hmm.
You would have a lot of white space in these because you might literally design them as index cards or something. Okay, and so that's about 8 for a total of 4 pages. 2 pages for the premise. And that's actually the playset, right?
I feel like.
That's it.
Yeah, that's 14 pages total. Or no, I'm sorry, 10 pages. And we're talking.
This is the single most on my bullshit suggestion that I think I've ever made in my life.
Mm-hmm.
You said design them as index cards, and all I could think in my head is if you design them as bar napkins, it would have a very nice aesthetic touch.
Okay, I'm actually going to add that here. Design scenes as cards, index, bar napkins, or something else thematic for the gig.
Like acknowledging that cigarettes are disgusting and murdered my mom and lots of other terrible things like that. Like cigarettes are the worst. But thematically, could you imagine coming to the table with all of your scenes and index cards and a cigarette box?
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. So we have the play sets.
Rolled up in your sleeve as you walk to the table, right?
Oh.
Springsteen look.
Yep.
Okay, and then actually a 2-page spread, 2-page reference spread. And that's just going to repeat the information that you already have in a more condensed environment.
Yeah.
It's going to have the characters, and it's going to have an outline of the scenes.
Yeah.
So that's the equivalent of a GM screen. It's a thing that's going to sit there in front of you. It's going to be your reference point. You'll be able to roll on it, whatever. Okay. And so descriptions are probably going to be less than 200 words.
Yeah, this has got to be very tightly written.
Okay. So I think in this case, explaining the play sets and how they work will probably take a little bit less than the actual play set. So really we're looking at probably about 8 pages to explain. And then let's do playset model underneath. And that would probably be an example in the book. I would say that we would do one called Dancing in the Dark, and that would be our example playset.
Yeah.
And then as far as the characters, the playbooks go, 2 pages to explain. Very simple. And then the playbook model. This would be the same thing. You would have the examples for the Dancing in the Dark story. We wouldn't want to repeat them because they would actually be twice in here, but that's okay. Play, let's say like 8 pages to explain plus example of play.
Yep.
So this with a full playbook is 10, 18, 19, 20, 28 pages plus the intro is 2 pages, so 30 pages. This is a 30-page party RPG that most of it is extraneous, like most of it is repeated information.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay, so this is... Oh, shit. What the fuck is... Oh, I switched to Japanese. Intro, 2 pages. Play sets. We get a total of 8, plus the actual thing, so 8, but not characters. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 pages. And then the playbooks are going to get 4 plus 2 is 6 pages. And then play is going to get 8 pages.
My man was born in 49.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, okay.
And he's still kicking.
Still going hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
He had a great line in Springsteen on Broadway. He starts the show off. He does, I forget what song he starts with, but then he walks on stage and looks out the crowd and goes, "I've been lying to you for the last 50 years." He's like, I have never worked construction. I have never committed a crime. He's like, I've talked so much about having blue collar jobs. The first 9 to 5, the first like 5-day a work week job I've ever had is this Broadway show, and I hate it.
That's great.
Oh man, that's so good.
Okay, so the next thing that I would do in this case, like I have a pretty good idea of what this book would look like.
Yeah.
The next thing that I would look at is what it would cost to make it.
Oh boy, she's gonna get into the numbers, friends.
Yeah, this is an educational stream, okay?
I am learning a lot, and this is brightening my day, like watching this unfold. So that I'm having a blast here.
Good.
One of the things that comes into play when you're talking about money
Yeah.
is timing too. That's very
Correct.
important. I just want to toss out here that the boss's birthday is in September.
Okay.
So theoretically, if we were to run like, I don't know, a jam to go along with the
To
book,
do play sets.
to do play sets,
Mm-hmm.
we could do it over the course of September.
Yeah.
And we'd have plenty of time to get some other work done before we were to do something like this.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So, I'm gonna do a quick price estimate because we know about how the book is gonna be.
Oh, you're showing the back end here.
Yeah.
For anybody who's never seen the producer's side of drive-through, here it be.
Yeah. Okay, so this is Drive-Thru RPG's print-on-demand thing. If it were a game that I thought were going to be particularly successful, I would just do a print run of it because it's going to be such a small book, so a print run would be reasonable.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so color, no.
No.
We want it to be a small size because a 6x9 book is a small
Redrock
size.
says Labor Day, which is also a very good answer.
Oh, Labor Day would be really
good.
cool.
That's a real good release day.
That would be really super cool. Yeah, let's think about that. Okay, and one thing that I tend to do is whenever I do these estimates, I buffer them a little bit. And so in this case, instead of it being a 30-page book, I'm going to make it a 36-page book.
Okay.
So I'm going to run the estimates as if it's 36 pages, and if there are any pages left over, that we can budget for ads.
Yeah.
Okay. So. Oh, whoa. Francita posted something.
Oh, I bet it's the initial layout.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, okay. Actually, I will show this right now before I get into the cost.
Oh my goodness.
So there's the
That's
layout.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. This will be what the basic book will look like.
So Francita's trick is she can do anything another graphic designer can do. She just does it faster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Isn't that great?
The thing.
That did not exist 20 minutes
I
ago.
just have to
I
imagine.
know. None of this existed in our.
Yeah. Francita, is your drawing tablet red? Just out of curiosity.
It is not, because she has the same one I do.
Oh, okay.
No, it should be red because it's 3 times faster.
Definitely. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So the numbers.
And actually, let me copy this image and paste it into the outline.
There you go.
Okay, there we go. Now it's in the outline. And as I said, we're going to estimate for 36 pages. We'll have a couple of extra pages left over for things like ads, things like stuff that we didn't expect that we'd have to add to the book. Because oftentimes you'll be like, oh shit, I forgot whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
I forgot to put in an ad for our friend Jeff's game.
Yeah. Yeah.
or you do descriptions that are too long, and then
Oops.
you have to also put art there in that page. So you say, Francita, I hope you can fit this on a page.
Hypothetically, this has never happened before.
No, of course
This
not.
is purely hypothetical.
Right.
Sure.
In this scenario, perhaps yes.
Yes. Okay. So, looking at it this way, let's just pitch it here. So every copy would be $2.10, plus of course shipping or whatever.
Yeah.
So hypothetically, one thing that one thing you have to consider is, are you trying to put this into stores?
Yeah.
If you're trying to put it into stores, then basically you need to understand that you have to mark it up significantly.
Yeah.
Because you have to give it to stores for at least 50 or 40% of the MSRP.
Right.
So if you have a $10 book, expect to sell it to distributors for $5 or $4.
Mm-hmm.
If we do that in this case, if we sell this book for $10, then we can basically expect to sell it for $4 or $5 to those distributors.
Mm-hmm.
That means that we're going to make $1.90 to $2.90 on each copy, minus the amount that it takes to ship it to us and ship it to the distributor.
Right.
That's not okay.
Okay.
That's not okay. That is a huge risk.
Okay.
Because basically you would have to sell more than half of your print run to break even.
And we don't want that.
You would rather die. This is a thing that a lot of publishers do to themselves, and it fucks them. It's one of the main things that hurts indie publishers.
What percentage of your initial print run should be covered by the cost there?
20 to 30% at most.
Okay.
Yes. If you sell 20 to 30% of your print run, you should be able to break even. If that way, everything after that is profit.
Okay.
And that basically opens you up to a world of giving copies away for review, for rewards, just because you want to give them to a person.
Yeah.
There's a designer you like, you meet at a convention. Hey, you want a copy of my game?
Yeah.
Give them away. You want to be able to give them away. So I would say in this case, it's a $20 game. You could do 10 or you could do 15.
Yeah.
If you did a $15, then you're really looking at like $7.50, maybe $6.
Yeah.
You are still making some money on those copies. However, I don't think that I've done a lot of research into pricing, and the difference between a $15 game and a $20 game is negligible.
Yeah.
Most people who will buy a $15 game will also buy a $20 game.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so if it's a $20 game, we're going to sell the game for $8 to $10 to distributors.
Yeah.
That means that we are going to make about $6 to $8 per copy.
Okay.
That's wonderful. That's good. That means that if you are, let's do some napkin math here, and by napkin I mean calculator.
Bar napkin math.
Yeah, bar napkin math. Okay, so hypothetically, I don't have my calculator won't go onto my second monitor. Okay, so
You'll just have to trust
you'll just have to trust us. So hypothetically,
Yeah.
if you do say 250 copies,
Yeah.
times $2.10. That's going to be $525.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is what I said, $2.10 a copy?
Yeah.
Yes. Per print copy. Also, I'll explain a little bit about digital sales too in a moment too. But So $2.10 per copy. If you do 250, then you are going to be spending $525 plus shipping.
Okay.
That's not actually a huge amount of money. That's pretty cool. That goes down slightly with the bulk rates that you get in print on demand.
Yeah.
But it's not much. I think it's like 5% or something.
Right.
It's not much. It'll buffer some of your, eating costs. Now, what did I say? If you were selling by distributor, I said you were going to make about $7.50 to, or wait, shit, what was it?
It was 8 to 10 per copy
8 to 10
to a distributor.
Okay, whenever you're making calculations for a game, you always want to go with the conservative estimate, not the liberal estimate, because things will fuck up.
Right.
There will always be things that you were not expecting.
And conservatives love to ruin a good time.
Yeah.
So
Wait.
No. So you want to lean on their side of things so
Yeah.
that you don't have your good time ruined.
Yeah, you don't want. Yeah. Okay, whatever.
It's fine. It works.
But you want to play safe, because this is risk that you are taking. This is monetary risk that you are taking upon yourself, and it will fuck you. Okay, so hypothetically, if we're making $8 a copy, $525 for the initial cost, you need to sell 65 of those.
Yeah.
Or 66, actually. 66 copies.
Now look at your Twitter follower count. Take whatever that is and multiply it by 0.01.
Yeah.
And that's how many copies you might be able to sell just from word of mouth on your Twitter.
Yeah. No. 1% of your Twitter followers is a good metric for how many you think you can sell right away.
Right. And I mean, I'm not saying over the long term. I'm not saying like if you really bust ass at a convention. I'm just saying like just from posting it fairly regularly on your Twitter and very little else.
Yeah, but like there's other ways to do it, but this is a good like eyeball metric.
And Retrox, it's not that you can't sell more than one copy. It's just one copy is probably going to go right out the door when you tweet it.
Yes, when you tweet it, you can expect one person will buy it, just right there.
Even if it's just us to prove that it's true.
So in this case, think about it like this. If I sell 66 copies, I will break even. If I have 6,600 Twitter followers, I can all but guarantee that I'm going to break even.
Okay.
6,600 Twitter followers might sound like a lot to people who have a few hundred Twitter followers or whatever, but it's actually not a huge number. And again, we're not saying that you have to be able to do this. We're saying that this is a safe bet.
Right.
Like if you have that, you can pretty much expect there's no risk here. Like no meaningful degree of risk.
I'm sorry, Jeff, you were going to say something?
and that's guarantee. That's not guarantee, but like that's assumed Twitter following. If you're tweeting about the game and doing no other promotion,
correct,
crossovers,
right,
that type of thing. That's literally just and that's like to your point. That's not a super high like number of Twitter followers to be able to say I don't have to do anything for this to break even.
Correct.
Right.
This isn't you have to have this to sell these copies. This is if you can do this, like don't even worry about it. Like you're probably good.
Yeah.
And if you can't, you might be able to do it anyway. For example, you might want to offer your book up to streamers. You might want to reach out to tabletop designers who run some kind of funky podcast where they need guests to come on and help them make fun games. Hint.
Now, let's. This is through distribution. Through distribution. Now, this is again the very conservative estimate. Let's talk for a second about direct sales, because this is important to people in the RPG space.
Direct sales are.
Direct sales
I have
are.
it in my hand.
Yes.
I'm talking to you at a convention. We play a game and then you buy a copy.
Yes, or I set it up on itch like we do.
Yeah.
I set it up on itch so you can buy it directly from us.
Right.
Okay. Okay. In this case, we're going to assume an expense of about $5 tacked onto each sale. This is just shipping.
Yeah.
So like in our case, if we're selling this game for $20, we pay for shipping. We're going to get about $15 off of it. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say it's $15 that you get off of each copy. $525 for that initial print run divided by $15. that means 35 copies equals break even through direct sales.
And that's an achievable number.
That is absolutely an achievable number. And you know what you have after you've sold those 35 copies? You have 215 copies, where every single cent that you make off of that is 100% profit.
Right.
Yep.
So this is, I think these are very good numbers for anyone who is getting into publishing to see.
Yeah.
Now digital. Digital, let's say it's
And this is assuming you have about $600 that you can toss down up front.
correct.
If you don't, you do digital first.
Yes, you can do digital first. Print. Just breaking down some brass tacks here. So
And setting up your digital to sell until you reach the number that you need for that first print run, that's perfectly honorable.
correct.
We're all here for
100%.
it.
Yeah.
We're all here for it.
Okay. So digital. Let's look at the game as if it were $5 and $10.
Okay.
Okay. $5, $10. Okay. All right. So the weird thing about digital is that different storefronts have different rates. In the case of Drive-Thru RPG, you are throwing out 35% to them, unless you're exclusive, in which case you are doing 30%. So 30% DTRPG equals got 5 times 0.35 equals $1.75 goes out the door. Every copy at that rate. And then itch is a weird one because you can technically do whatever you want with itch. The average is about 10%. And in this case, you're basically giving them 50 cents per copy. Okay. So every copy that you sell on Drive-Thru, you're going to make $3.25.
Yay!
Every copy you sell on itch, you are going to make $4.50. Now, anyone watching at home right now should be able to tell the difference between these two and why this is a big fucking deal.
Yeah, because math.
Because math.
Yeah.
Let's break this down. Or 35. 35 on Drive-Thru is what I said. 35 on Drive-Thru. This expands perfectly into $3.50 per copy at $10. So that means that you're going to be selling those copies and you're going to be making $6.50 per copy. And then on itch, you are going to be making, or you're going to be giving them $1.
So you're making $9 a copy.
You're making $9 a copy. Okay. Now, in this case, if I saw someone selling this for $5, I would probably be upset with them.
Yeah, I think so.
I would tell them to stop. Yeah. Okay. And let me tell you why this is. Because we're doing brass tacks and I'm in math brain.
She played with the stock market this morning, so she's super in math right
I
now.
made a few $100s on the stock market today.
I'm not saying that was a bad thing. I'm just saying I wish that there were a wholesome place for you to extend this math brain.
Yes. I made stonks go burr. Okay. So, theoretically, okay, let's look at what these are. So the characters are 200 words of fiction, essentially, and then about another 100 words of character traits.
Sure.
It's about 300 words per character.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I see. She's breaking down the cost to produce
Labor.
it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm breaking down labor.
Yeah.
Fortunately, a lot of this is going to be repeated. So 300 words. Oh, shit. Characters. 300 words per character at 6 characters equals 1,800 words.
Okay. And I'm just going to say this out here for people who are doing stuff on their own. If you're making a completely independent game, I still want you to consider how much you are paying yourself as a creator.
Yep.
And at very least, consider the labor.
Yeah. Please acknowledge your own labor.
Okay.
100%.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so the characters in this are going to be repeated. We are going to give 8 pages to explain. That's going to be about 4,000 words. For explainer. And then okay, so then we established that the adventure is going to be a total of 6 pages, 500 words each. So that's 3,000 words. 300 words for the play set. Example. Okay. The explainer for playbooks will be 1,000 words. And then 8 pages of play rules is going to be 4,000 words. That's going to be the whole thing. Okay, so hypothetically, we have 4,000, 5,000, 6, 7, rounding up, 8, 9, 10, 14,000, 15,000 with the intro. 15,000 words.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 15,000 words. All right. So, breaking it down like a classic RPG publisher, let's look at it this way. Calculate, and we're going to do 15,000
You said calculate like I expected the computer to just do
times
that for you.
0.03 equals. Okay, so if you're doing this through a traditional RPG company, your White Wolves, your Catalysts, etc., they pay about 3 to 4 cents a word. So really, you're looking at about $450 of labor to clear 15,000 times 0.04 equals $600. So so 600.
Also, please don't underpay yourself like that.
Please do not. No. Trad RPG would be that. So 10 cents. 10 cents a word, you're looking at $1,500.
And then 20 cents a word, you're looking at $3,000.
Yep.
Jeff takes good care of himself.
Yeah, 20 cents. 20 cents is a good number. If you're able to pull that in, that's good. Layout. Francita, do you have a rate that you usually charge for layout? I have one, but it's probably bad. What is yours?
I charge a base for the first 10 pages, and then a rate for each page after that, which is 80 for the first 10 pages, and then $8 per page afterwards.
You said, oh, I'm sorry, 10?
8.
8 per page? Okay. Okay, so layout in this case would be, so 10 pages at 80 plus the page count of, what it was, 36, so 26. Okay, so 26 times 8 is 208. So basically we're looking at about $300. It's actually a little less, but I would tell Francita to take 300. So I'm going to put 300 here. Okay. And I would say that that's pretty good. That's a very simple budget. If you want art, that's good. Let's say art, cover art. Let's just put 500. That's a relatively good rate for a simple cover. In this case, we would be using Francita's cover because it's very cool. We would just have her polish it a little bit. Okay, so hypothetically, we've got 800 in visuals and design here. And then we've got 3,000, so 3,800 in labor to pay us well. 3,800 labor. This is good labor cost. How many copies do we have to sell to break even in this case? Well, if we're selling through distribution, we know...
Well, if we're only selling through distribution.
Yeah, if we're only selling through distribution, how much do we make per distribution? 8 to 10.
I think
So we have to sell 475 copies.
Whoop.
Okay. Plus, okay, so in here we got to sell. We have to sell 66 plus. How many? 450? You said.
300 through 475.
475. Okay, 475 copies to cover labor.
So basically, don't do only print.
Yeah, don't do only distribution.
Yeah.
This is an important thing. So in that 475 plus 66, so you'd really need 541. So 540 copies.
Is that more than your print run?
Yes, the print run that I calculated was 250 copies.
Okay, so there's a problem there.
There is a problem with that.
Yeah.
And I hope that this is illustrative to people at home.
Yeah.
This is illustrative to me, so I'm loving this.
Okay, now direct sales. How much are we making on direct sales? We're making about 15, right?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got 3,000. Oh shit. 3,800 divided by 15. We need 253 copies, which sounds like a lot.
That's your whole print run again.
Yes. But remember, we're not really, this isn't we're not going to do one strategy at all. So 280, so roughly 280 copies. But you can see the difference here. We almost need to sell twice as many copies through distribution in order to break even. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now digitals. Digitals, if we want to cover labor at $5 through drive-through RPG, then we need to sell $3.25. Then we need to sell 1,170 copies. And we don't need to worry about digital sales to cover print costs because we don't need to worry about print costs with digital. Yay, digital. Okay. Now, itch. $3,800 divided by $4.50. That's going to be 844 copies.
That's a little bit of a scary number.
That's correct. That is a lot.
Number.
Exceedingly few RPGs sell that many copies. Exceedingly few. Even ones that you get in stores don't really sell that many in a lot of cases. Okay, so $10. Let's look at $10. Drive-through RPG, 3,800 divided by $6.50.
Tina, did you know you were showing up for a math class?
This is 584 to cover labor. Much better looking numbers here. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. And then through itch, we have 3,800 divided by $9. That's 422 copies. Okay. So now, this is paying you fairly. This is giving you a good, 20 cents a word. This is making it worth your time, and this is making for sure that you compensate. Like in this case, we might cut a little bit of corners as far as the cover goes, but I'm giving you guys a pretty liberal example with a lot of nice expenses. So basically, this is what you need to sell to break even. Remember that these are going to be combined. There's no scenario where you're going to sell print copies and you're not going to sell digital.
Right.
So if hypothetically you sold 140 copies through direct sale, that's half of your budget right there. And then basically that means that the digital that you have to get is going to be half of what you expected to make up that. Like there's a lot of variables and a lot of combinations here, but basically this is what you would need to do in order to break even with this game. And not break even in the sense that most indie RPG people say, where it's like, oh, I covered the print costs. No, this is compensating labor.
Yeah, this is everybody, including you, gets paid.
Yes. Yeah. Which you should
Which
do.
is what we should be aspiring to, yeah.
Yes. And this needs to be even if you don't expect it. Like, I have done games where I did not expect to get paid, but I wanted to know what it would take to get me paid fairly. And so you need to know those numbers because you need to have a realistic perspective going in. Okay?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Now remember, napkin math, you can sell a copy for every 100 Twitter followers, give or take. Like, you can pretty much expect that will happen.
For every 100?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about 1%.
All right.
Yeah. Like, if you think about it, like, I can probably expect whenever I sell something that's like a game, I can probably pull about 100 copies, 120 copies. Mm-hmm. I have 12,000 followers, so 1%.
And this is not to say you have to have more Twitter followers to sell games.
No.
It's not a one-for-one thing.
No, this is your insurance policy.
I'm sorry,
yeah.
Jeff? What did Jeff say?
What did you say?
Oh, I said it's just the baked-in audience. It's your assumption.
Yeah. It is essentially your insurance policy. This is a basic expectation. Like, you can expect to get that in a reasonable amount of time.
We've already got marketing.
Oh shit. Okay, let me pull this up. Oh my god.
It's so good. It's so good.
Okay, everyone look at this.
This is, by the way, how you switch from selling a copy for every 100 to selling a copy and a half for every 100 Twitter followers. Which doesn't sound like a big number, but actually adds up to be a big number.
Yeah. So this is what we would be selling. Like, this is what we would see. And I think that this is a really good process video too. Like, we've gone through, like, from beginning to end. We have a viable project.
I think so.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And this is not directly related to the project, but I just wanted to show you this. I ran across the weirdest 7 degrees of separation possible.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was looking at the E Street Band.
Mm-hmm.
And when you Google that, they give you this long list of people who were involved because, as Jeff mentioned earlier, a lot of people were cycled in and out. Right?
Yes.
So, for example, Bonnie Tyler and Meatloaf were both, at some point or another, members of the E Street Band. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The name that jumped out at me as I was looking at this long, long list of people who have worked with Bruce was Tom Morello.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Tom Morello, of course, is the guitarist for Rage Against the Machine.
And Street Sweeper Social Club.
That's right. But more interesting relative to what we're doing here tonight, Tom Morello occasionally spends his evenings hanging out in Vince... God, I lost the name immediately as soon as I was about to say it. In Vince Vaughn's basement.
Yeah, playing D&D.
Playing D&D.
Yeah.
Ergo, connecting these points together, we can assume that Bruce Springsteen would be very happy about the fact that we are making a tabletop game based on his energy.
And, yeah.
Right? Like, that's how that works, right?
Yeah, I think
Reverse
so.
causality or something?
Yeah. So, yeah. That's really good. In 1 second.
I guess Joe Manganiello. I'm never going to say that word. That's too many letters.
I don't know. Okay. What?
Joe
Joe Manganiello?
That's the one. Thank you.
The
I guess he's
Sofia
the one.
Vergara's husband, right?
What's that?
Sofia Vergara's husband?
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
They go to wrestling shows together and take selfies at the wrestling shows, and it is my favorite thing in the world.
That's very good. Okay. So, I hope this was beneficial to people.
I think so.
We don't oftentimes do that much process, but I really wanted to sort of break down, like when we have an idea for a game, whenever we really want to see if it's a viable product, I like to break down those numbers and see what it would take to make, how we could reliably compensate ourselves, and what the expectation would be to sell this game.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I don't know, Liv, how hard would it be for you to take the basics that you did tonight and make them a spreadsheet that anybody could use?
Oh, to do a spreadsheet? I could do it as a spreadsheet. Yeah, I could
might
do it
be-
as an auto calculator.
Might be a calculator thing that we could share with people.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That would be incredible.
I actually did one recently for the Kickstarter that we're going to be doing in a couple of months with the co-op.
Yeah, that's right.
So I did a really good budget calculator for that.
But that was pretty job specific. Something that's a little more generic might be
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I can do that. All right, that's fine. That's good.
All right, so do we want to wrap with another kind of round of what everybody's doing, where you can find everybody and so on?
Yeah, let's do that.
I mean, I know what we're doing in Labor Day is what? The summer?
September.
Labor Day is in September?
Isn't Labor Day in September?
No, it's a summer thing.
Is it?
Labor Day is in September.
Is it? Fuck if I know.
Yeah, I think it's like the first. I think it's the first. Isn't it the first Monday of September?
I'm pretty sure, yeah, because that's the, you wear it after Labor Day, right? That's like the...
Oh, you guys are totally right. Monday's September 6th.
It's the first Monday in September. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, damn. All right, very
Yeah.
cool.
Hmm.
All right, so we know what we're doing in September, but before that...
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. And, so I'm Liv. We're at Machine Age Productions. A stupid minor update. If you are waiting for the physical books of iHunt,
Yeah.
we just got the shipping manifest for them. They're going to arrive in a few days.
They're sending us 2,000 pounds worth of books.
2,000 fucking pounds.
We're getting Arm Day.
Yeah.
Arm Day is happening.
It's going to be really scary. So basically, once those are in, then we'll start shipping out stuff. If you're not in the United States and you're waiting for a shipping estimate, it's probably because we don't know how much they weigh yet. We need to actually have the package, and we need to have the finals and everything ready to do that. Then we'll start doing shipping estimates. But if you want to order a copy of iHunt, you can still do it on Itch. And if you do it on Itch, there's a bunch of cool pre-order bonuses. You get a sticker, you get an enamel pin, you get a copy of the Player's Companion, which is otherwise $20, but you get it for free if you pre-order.
Oh, I fucked that up.
Yeah, you did. I don't even know.
Just ignore it.
But whatever. It's on our Itch page. That's the big thing right now. So we're getting ready for the big iHunt release. Mina, do you have anything to...
Other than the fiction, fiction is a word that
Yeah.
I just made up. Other than the fiction that I'm always working on churning out, I think we're getting closer to Flat Pack Refix the Future,
Oh, yeah.
which is a optimistic post-apocalyptic adventure where you don't have an attack action even though it's fate, because you're fixing things, not killing things.
Oh, yeah.
And that should be out soon. We've got a lot of... Go ahead, Jeff.
This is the first I'm hearing of this, and I'm losing my goddamn mind.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll have to talk because it is a delight.
The TLDR,
Oh my
imagine
God.
that you are young adults who are frozen in time because your people knew that after the end of the world, you'd have to rebuild. And so you are optimistic, you come back, and you wake up after the end of the world, and basically you're rebuilding society out of these super, super scientific flat pack boxes that you open up and they become a building, they become a hospital, they become a shoe store or whatever. And so basically you're rebuilding using automated created buildings.
Yeah. And these buildings are where your character gets their stunts. So
Yeah.
this is a fate hack, but I'm doing a lot of things backwards because why not?
Yeah.
We've got a lot of really cool, the opening chapter spreads are going to be coloring pages
Mm-hmm.
because it's a black and white book, but also I want you to play. Some of the mechanics are based around putting the dice away and breaking out your Jenga tower, putting the dice away and breaking out your game of Old Maid, putting the dice away and playing Tiddlywinks. Because I want you to get out the old children's games that you still have lying around gathering dust and play them even with all the pieces, with half the pieces missing.
Yeah.
Because that's very appropriate for the setting.
And the character sheet is a puzzle.
Yeah.
you have a puzzle that represents your little village, your city, and you get to sort of pick and choose what buildings go in the different slots of the jigsaw puzzle, and you sort of hot swap them, and each building comes with a stunt that basically modifies your character.
Yeah.
And so you customize your city to upgrade your character.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be yeah.
So real talk, like this is a moment of realness that I wasn't necessarily going to bring up on stream, but now I am obligated to.
Yeah.
The original Flat Pack is one of my favorite RPGs of all time. So hearing that there's a new version of it this is a moment that I'm processing on stream in a very real and tangible way, and I want you to know that I'm processing.
Okay, well now I'm processing the fact that you said that, and I'm having my own moment. So.
Aww. So, for those of you at home, if you want, my sort of pitch is it's sort of like Fallout meets ActRaiser.
Yeah, I think that's a good one.
Yeah. So, and that's a good one. So that's that. Francito, what are you doing? What do you want us to know about?
Jeez. Okay. So yeah, something. I am working on the Kickstarter page, and I'm going to be working on layout for a game that's going to run for Zine Quest. That it's called Tension, and it's by Adira.
Adira Slatter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my God! I didn't know you were working on Tension. I'm so excited about that.
Yeah. Oh, me too.
Oh.
So it was a very funny story because like I liked the game so much after I bought it that I was like, oh my God, Adira, I have to do a mock-up layout of this because like I need it. And if you don't end up using it, I don't care, but I need it. And I did, and she was like, oh my God, this is so cool, and you have to do it, and let's do the Kickstarter and whatever. And so that's how it happened. And I'm doing the Kickstarter page, and it's going to be very beautiful, I think.
That's exciting. That's super cool.
Some people
So exciting.
Some people do fan fiction of fan fiction art of characters they like. Some people do fan fiction layout for games they like. I like this trend. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, lastly, Jeff, what would you like us to pay attention to?
I'm going to run through the whole hit list real quick.
Do it.
So you can find all of my work at jeffstormer.com. I'm the host of Party of One, which is an actual play podcast focused on two-player role-playing games. We have played Flat Pack on the show. You can hear it on there. You can find that at partyofonepodcast.com. I also co-host All My Fantasy Children, which is a character creation and storytelling podcast, which you can find at oneshotpodcast.com. It's on the One Shot Network. And I am also a game designer. I make games. The most recent game I released is Anyone Can Wear the Mask, which is my love letter to Superman and Spider-Man stories specifically. It is a superhero story about a superhero, a villain, and the city that they share. And you can find my games at jeffstormer.itch.io, and you can find Anyone Can Wear the Mask at jeffstormer.itch.io/mask.
Wow.
Awesome.
Ooh.
Damn.
That
That was fucking good.
I got this machine oiled.
And whenever anybody's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, I don't know." You're like, "Here, let's give you the full list."
I don't know. What are you doing?
Maybe we should all strive to have Jeff's style list ready to go in our brains, so that practice it a couple of times in front of the mirror.
Yeah. Okay, so
Fantastic.
yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed themselves. We had a pretty good viewership tonight. Like everyone seemed engaged. Loved doing it.
Yeah.
And if you want to do any more things like this, let us know.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, radio show. We're doing the 1930s I Hunt radio show. We're doing the second episode. But assuming that all goes in according to plan, we will be previewing it we'll be starting out with the first episode.
Yeah.
That's like edited, cleaned it up, and everything like that. We'll play the first episode, then we'll jump into the second episode. That'll be about 6 o'clock Pacific time.
Starting at 5:30.
Starting about 5:30, we'll start the preview version, the first episode. So yeah, that's a thing. Rock on. I hope everyone had fun. Love you, everyone.
Okay.
And we'll see you soon.
We'll see you. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, see you
Tell your
tomorrow.
friends. Your non-gaming friends.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.